All right, guys. Hey, happy Mother's Day. It is Sunday. We are diving into our chapter 4 of the 10X rule, and we're not going to waste any time. We're going to dive right in. You know, this chapter was incredible. They talk a lot about, you know, how success is our duty. And it's like, if we treat it as an obligation, you know, we find that we just breed more success because now we're taking the necessary actions to get there. And we're feeling good. We're getting luckier. We're achieving more success. We're defining new rules for our lives. And it's just been a really exciting chapter. So, you know, the Active Nutrition Group, you know, we got a bunch of people dialed in. We're super excited to share this with you guys. And we hope that it adds some value to your day and it helps you to maybe redefine or further refine your current principles on how you view success and what it is that you do to achieve it. So that being said, I'm going to roll right into one of the first questions because it's a lot of fun to talk about this, right? So here we go. So how should we approach success? There's three things that define it, right? So it's our duty, it's our responsibility, and somebody help me with the last, and it's our obligation, right? So with that being said, let's open it up for conversation. So if it's your duty and your responsibility and your obligation, how does that relate to what you got going on in your life right now? Whether it's as an entrepreneur or just as a person, because they go hand in hand.
It relates to life in general. If we don't strive for success, even, you know, and so as it relates to our duty and obligation, and right, if we're not striving for something, then what is life about?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like how are you gonna live a fulfilled life if you're not even going for anything?
Yes, exactly.
for sure.
Yeah. You're trying to do the best that you can do daily, consistently. And that's funny because consistently, #consistency was yesterday. Was it yesterday or was it day one?
Yesterday.
Of our challenge.
Yeah.
It's literally every day. I agree with you. Like every day.
But
You can't just like pick and choose what you want to do. It's really like every day, even if it's something just as little as making a bed. Like we said, this like the flow of it just really like intertwines. Every chapter just intertwines with each other, and it like he repeatedly says like success is an obligation, then you're literally failing. You know, you're really not living up to your best version of you, or your best, like, you're just not being you, the best version of you.
You're not doing the best that you can do daily.
For sure. Yep. So it's funny that you mentioned that, right? Something as little as like making your bed in the morning. So I finally remembered who it was that did that speech because I just posted it the other day because I had something that came up in my life that I'll talk more about a little later. But Admiral McCraven, he is an incredible leader. And he talks about it. Like it's doing the small little fundamental things that end up leading towards big results in life, because it doesn't matter what you do, but if you can do the small things in life, then you can be trusted to do the bigger things in life, which comes down to big decisions. It comes down to family decisions. And it also comes down to like, well, how do you lead your life on a daily basis? Like I got into a habit of making my bed every day because I found that once I started, and this was something I used to get yelled at as a kid because I was just that guy like, no, I'm out of bed, I'm gonna do my thing. But once I started like making that a practice, I started finding that other tasks came a little bit more easy. And then I started falling into a bit of a flow, a bit of a routine. But the best part about it was when I came home and then I went, oh man, my bed looks so nice. It's so inviting now because I've accomplished so much. And even if the day is crap, and even if the day is crap, then I still feel pretty good knowing that, well, at least I got something done today.
Yep, you're still winning. Like you're still getting it.
Yeah.
And if you try and I'm sorry, Ev. Was that you?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
If you try and like daily, if you try and push past your original goal, that's where I kind of got from it. This chapter is like, if you push past your original goal and you achieve higher, like 10 times higher, then you're gonna already achieve your original goal and then some. You know, you're not gonna fall short.
For sure.
Yeah. And those small daily disciplines, like I make my bed every morning too. And I agree totally. Like coming home and then seeing it. So I have this dog Primo, right? And he always wants to jump on my bed. I think, no. That's my space, brother. You're not jumping on my bed. That's clean. But it's like, yeah, it looks good at the end. And the small little victories, winning is fun. You know, winning in life is more fun than just participating. Like I think a lot of people, including myself, I was just participating and not going for anything. So yeah, getting back to the duty, obligation, and all that for the book. What was it? Duty, obligation, and
responsibility.
To yourself.
Yeah.
Like to yourself first, I think, and then everybody else. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Austin's making a thing. So Austin.
That's really it, though.
My ninja action just wasn't happening today.
Yeah, my day.
But yeah, so yeah, simple daily disciplines. And you know what? I run into the same thing with my dog Twitch. Like he's got his own nice bed, but he jumps on my bed and he's like, "Oh, this is much more comfortable. This is nicer." And it's like, "Yo, dog, that's
It's clean. It smells good."
Right. And it's like, master's not home, so I have to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just want to add on the duty because like all the moms out there, right? So they need to wake up, they need to wake up early in the morning. For me, before, I woke up like 6 a.m., so that's already late for me. So when I switch into 4 a.m., it's like I did a lot. And then when the sun goes down, it's like I feel like I need to rest. Like, it's easy because everything is like, it's already done. And before the kids wake up, it's like, it's already done. Like I'm doing it already, So, yeah.
But
What
true,
time is
Joy.
it? What
You're
time is it there?
you're that 95% that like you're not that 95%. Like you're that 5% that gets up and gets their stuff done like early 30. We call it local status. We call it early 30. Okay, so early 30 is basically before everybody gets up. It's like when the 95% says like their alarm goes off and is like they're snoozing it
Uh-huh.
like 2 to 3 times to get up until like the very last minute of them having to get up and get ready for their day, when really they should have got up when their alarm went off, because then they'd set themselves up for the day, like
Yeah.
those people that are snoozing them alarms, they ain't getting what they should be getting.
Your first
say-
hour
they
is your
say-
most important hour.
They say snoozers are losers, right? Wake up with your alarm.
Yep.
You know what?
Losers are losers.
There's this guy, Jocko Willick, and he wakes up, I think, at like 4 a.m. every day.
Yep.
4:30, something like that. And every morning you should do this, Joy, actually. It's kind of a good idea. He takes a picture of his watch.
Mhm.
So his first post every day is his watch, what time he's waking up. And it's not like he's trying to make it like he's better than everybody else for waking up that early. That's just his routine. That's what he does. It's part of his
body
formula
clock.
for success. It's part of his formula for success and getting shit done early, like his workout and everything else, so that he sets up winning. He sets up his day in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then you can put the hashtag on there, Joy.
Oh,
Early
yeah.
Tell them 5%. I am that 5% today.
Yep.
Yeah, the time
Yeah,
is here.
I was right there.
5:30. Yeah.
So it's funny, right? So a lot of people will relate personality and like time management, and everybody kind of. I think maybe not everybody. I might be overgeneralizing here, but a lot of people relate themselves and their personality to some type of animal, right? Whether you're a lion, whether you're a dolphin, a shark, however it is that you go about your day, right? But I found that in one of the studies that I've done on time management,
You froze us.
lion can get things done before you're a different class of animal. Like the people that are loosey goosey, like waking early in the morning. But you had lions, you had wolves, you had dolphins, and I think you had a shark. Those are the four main ones that I remember. So, Evan, you said something, right? Formula for success. That kind of really ties heavily into this chapter about success being your duty, because you kind of have to have some formula for success. You have to have purpose, right? So, I'll start off. Success is things, right? It's like, am I cutting out?
Yeah.
Yes. Evan, we cannot hear you.
It's like one little but I think I still understood. How's that? Yeah, you're
How's
talking
this? Is that
like purpose, right? And how you
yes?
set up what's your morning routine kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do every day is take a piss. then
The morning relief.
I make a tea. I have my multivitamin. I usually like silence in the morning. Like I don't turn on my phone right away because it's kind of like my time. And I don't want a lot of blaring stuff in my ears, so I can go down and write in my journal. So I'll scribe. So I'll journal, and I have like a little routine on what I do in there, like what happened yesterday. And then after that's like the biggest lessons that I got out of yesterday, the biggest wins that I felt I had, what I'm grateful for, and then like what's the next step? Like what is my next best move moving forward? And then after that, I'll start getting into my day of like what I planned the night before and what I wanted to do today, like the tasks. But I also keep in mind that the next best move, because there's a lot of times in the morning, the next best move, I didn't even think about the night before. But as I'm scribing during the morning, it comes out. It's like, shit, yeah, that's right. I gotta hit that today. And I try to talk to myself. It's like I don't gotta do anything. I get to. That's something I learned in an Herbalife training actually.
Yeah.
Like I get to do this today. This will help me feel better. It'll help me feel like I'm winning, even if it's small, but it's important.
Do you find that opens the door for you to think a little deeper, because you actually have to think about what you're writing down instead of just going, well, I feel like this, and then just moving on?
Yeah, what it does a lot, because I write about like what happened yesterday, and then my biggest lessons. So say I didn't do much yesterday. I had a really productive day yesterday, but say I didn't do much, and the next day I didn't do much, and the next day I didn't do much. There's a reason why that I'm not doing much, So what are my biggest lessons after that? Like, oh, I didn't sleep early enough, so I wasted time in the morning or whatever. And then it's like, so I can identify problem spots within my day by journaling in the morning.
That's
and
awesome.
Then what my biggest wins are, so like what I'm most proud of. And there's always a win. So there's always a big win, no matter what. Breathing, you know what I mean? Getting out of bed. So yeah, and then what I'm grateful for.
That's funny that you say that. So I got a couple things on that. So the first one is, it's funny that you say that, breathing and getting out of bed is like, it's a win. I used to work with a guy, I used to be his manager. He would call in sick because he had, I guess, so much like stuff going on internally, he wouldn't get out of bed. And I could never figure that out. Like for the longest time, I couldn't fathom it. I was like, I don't get that. It's like you get out of bed. But that's actually a pretty big deal for people that kind of struggle with stress management. And what I found, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, like depression, not just physical ailments. I mean, imagine you had a broken back or whatever, right? You just cannot move.
Yep.
Paraplegic, no arms, no legs, like war veteran, I don't know, whatever, or just post-traumatic stress or any kind of mental disorders or depression is a super real thing. Yep. And yeah, for sure. Like to be able to overcome, journaling and stuff like that really helped me get over some stuff that I was going through this past year.
Totally.
I'm super grateful for that. And you guys too.
I agree. Since I've gone hardcore, Herbalife, personal development, I've really come to the conclusion of get up first thing, write in my journal 3 things that I'm grateful for, and then go down, make my morning shake, and then I'm in my plants. I'm talking to my plants. Maybe kind of weird, but not really for me. I'd be talking to my plants and just telling them what's up, and then getting on with my day. It really is little things, the little steps that you take every day, consistently. It really is from the start, making your bed, man. Consistency is the number one goal of anything that you start, honestly, because even when it gets hard, for example, okay, so I was all ready, hardcore, 10 people shoots for this challenge that we're in. Okay, 5 people, I was yeah, I got them, I got them. And it was exactly that. I expected a lot, not only from people that I be talking to, but mostly for myself. I'm the kind of person shoots, when I say I can do something, I can do them, automatic.
Integrity.
I can do them. So for me, it really was, and it really is that I was hardcore on myself, shoots. And then the fact that I didn't get him, I was even more so oh man, I had to step back, what did I do? Expected more from other people instead of just doing it how we're taught to, and just keep going, so it was a lesson for me. This challenge was a lesson for me, and I'm so grateful that I get to do it with all of you, because
More to come.
y'all just make it.
It's definitely
y'all
exciting.
make it just that much better, man.
Totally. It's definitely exciting, and
better.
everything that you're saying, it ends up becoming it's a big self-management thing, right? Because you're able to write down your thoughts. You're talking to yourself, which a lot of people in normal day society is it's not good to talk to yourself. It's well, how do I better understand who I am and what I bring to the table if I don't have those conversations with myself, or those reflections, which would be more commonly found, right?
Call me crazy, but I'm constantly talking to myself.
For sure.
I'm not out there out there wandering around.
Me too.
Flies, but
How long does it go?
So funny. Okay, so I'm gonna break a little bit, and I don't know if anybody else is noticing this, but Evan, you sound like the guy from the Allstate commercials right now.
Yeah, I noticed it.
What Allstate commercial?
So deep.
You know how he has a
really
throaty voice?
Yeah.
Oh, you know why?
So, are you in good hands? Yeah, that kind of voice.
Really? So I have this new mic.
Oh.
So I'm trying to use it because I've had it for a long time.
Yeah. Whoa. What happened?
3 octaves lower.
I thought you had a voice changer.
Me too.
So is it so test? Is it changing?
No, it's just getting lower. Your throatiness is
2 or 3 octaves lower. I'm
what?
Whoa, what's going on?
Hey.
I was what's going on?
I think my balls are getting bigger. That's what it is.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, is that what it is?
Not the kind. case of the elephantitis, huh?
I'll listen to the recording after this, and then I'll.
Oh, yeah.
Is it better before, or should I use this, or is it better before?
Oh, I think it's great right now.
Okay.
Voice is different.
Right.
Different, yeah.
It's fun. It's pretty entertaining. So yeah, so like how I
You're
was
like
saying
a
with like how we
newscaster.
say before I got off on a tangent.
Me too.
But-
I was like, what's going on?
That whole self-management thing is like so special. And Evan, it helped you to get through some things in the past year. I think it's helped me definitely get through some things. But I think the big thing to focus in and how it correlates with like the chapter of what we were reading was in journaling or in having that as part of our routine. I feel like it helps us to better define our purpose, because a lot of people, they don't have a clue. Like, and it's no fault of theirs. It's just, they go through life and they're thinking, this is what I do. This is what I'm told to do. This is how I was told to live life. But they lose their purpose for themselves because they build somebody else's dream. Go ahead, E.
So that goes into what Kawhi was saying with consistency, right? Because in our business, I see a lot of people that, it's not just in our business, but it was me too, where I was consistent for a little while, not long enough to see results. So take journaling, for example, right, in the morning, or like gratitude, or like law of attraction. It is possible to create something right away, but usually, who was saying it recently in one of our trainings? We're farmers.
Yep.
We plant seeds.
Yeah.
We plant seeds consistently, and then a crop comes. It's not like you plant the seed and then like so. Getting back to the purpose, right? The tree doesn't sprout immediately. So getting back to the purpose and the book and all of that, consistency over time helps kind of condition the mind to what matters most. Purpose, like what's most important to the person, like what's excellence for that person? What does that mean? Developing a frame, purpose in life. What's it all going to be about? Fulfillment, all these other things.
So has there ever been a time in anybody's like journey or in their life so far where you felt distracted or led to fulfill somebody else's goals and ambitions based on a lack of purpose of your own? And if it is, what was it?
Real estate.
Real estate?
Well,
I don't
for
think we
me,
ever talked about that. So how did that happen?
You mean getting into real estate?
Well, like how did that end up becoming like a distraction and not relating to your purpose?
Someone else's dream.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like I kind of monkey branched up to real estate. I had many different other careers, that didn't pay enough, or like, what's it going to be about? Or like I want to do something that I'm proud of, more so when I talk to other people. It was like I wanted to be proud of something that I was doing that was making money, and so I was achieving success more so in other people's eyes, but I also wanted to like buy my own house and other stuff like that. So I was just very, very fortunate that I was in the right place at the right time. Again, it was consistency, but through paddling that I met some people that hired me and gave me a really good real estate job as soon as I got my license. So that company was fantastic. But again, I was busting my ass, like working hard, and the money was great and everything else, but it wasn't, it was allowing me to fulfill part of my vision of buying a home. But at the same time, what I was making was peanuts compared to what the company was making. And I'm grateful for the opportunity. Like, don't get me wrong, super grateful for the opportunity and
For sure.
changed my life to the max. But after that company was over, or you mainlanders, right? We sold out of all of our inventory, and then the market kind of crashed. I was at a different company where it was more of a finger pointing game, where they wanted all of our ideas. And because I had come from a really, really good company that was, everything was self-contained, the marketing, the advertising, the product, the construction schedule was all on one wheel. It was very smooth. The company that I went to, everything was individual. So sales, marketing, construction, it was all individual. So everybody was pointing their fingers at everybody else when something went wrong. And then took the credit, wanted to take the credit when everything went right. So I got to see both sides. And so the sales team manager wanted us all to have like input our ideas. And because I came from a really good company, I had tons of ideas on how to make things better for us. So a lot of these ideas I put forth to the manager, and then she took all the credit.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still using those ideas to this day.
Yeah.
So that's one way of like, at least in our business like this, we can work together to generate something that we can all share in. And the last thing I'm going to do is try to take anybody else's credit. You know what I mean?
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So I hope
Exactly.
Does that answer?
Like we
It
all
does,
benefit in that. We all
Yeah,
benefit
whatever
in that.
from
Like that's the difference between like us working as what we would call or others would call business partners instead of just working someone else's business and making their like name, basically their brand, like prime. Because I come from the same thing of like I was started as like a little hostess with the mostest and like literally the only one there. And then, you know, as the business grew, they had like a restaurant. So I started as a server, then became a supervisor. Like, for us, up with that better to bigger where it's more easier, less time managing, like taking away from time. That's where I'm getting to, you know. So like we always are coming up with ideas, and that's where working for someone else and making their name or their brand better, it takes away from our value and what we have to bring, because we're making someone else look better when really it was our idea. They're gonna take the credit, whether we like it or not.
And it's not
That's
so much
just
of it.
what
Sorry, Kelly.
how it happens. You know? We put us in that. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So it wasn't so much like about the credit as it was like the feeling of like, okay, this person is like trying to advance her career while at the same time pushing me or pushing the sales team or whoever us down. It was more of that kind of like, okay, this isn't for me. So with what we do now, that's cool is that we conglomerate on things. We all have the authority to make the decision, and then we do it. And man, so far it's like the great thing about our team is that we're all independent and at the same time purpose-driven, full of integrity. So all the characteristics that we talk about and what he talks about in this book, we're growing together. We're learning how to think bigger, and it's blossoming. Like our current challenge, I love it, you guys. So congratulations.
For sure.
Speaking of that,
awesome.
that current challenge is firing off, by the way. So, man, you and Callie, you guys are like totally on point with that. So, which, I'll bring up that story that I was telling you guys, I was kind of hinting at earlier, right? So, in a state of reflection now, I talk about it from that sense, but then I'll segue into moving it forward, right? And what I'm looking forward to. So, that situation that I ran into, it's case in point been my entire career in the IT industry. So I operate as an IT engineer and corporate manager, but your idea is like, it's dog eat dog in that world. And, I've always been led under the impression that, there's leaders in there that are like, I'm going to gas you up. I'm going to take you to the top. I'm going to help you. One of the things that I never could stand is when people would tell me that they could take me to the top. Because I always felt like it was like, no. I stand on my own 2 feet. I work hard for my family. I put food on the table for my family because these are my dreams. But what I found was there's a lot of lack of factuality there. So it's like they're always taking the credit for when they're taking you up higher, and yet they're saying that they're gassing you up. So that's one. But then you find that every idea that you contribute to, at some token or at some point, they're sitting there going, "Yup, I did this." So then that's how where it gets to what you were saying about people push you down so they can get a leg up. So that's the stuff that I've been running into. And it even leads it to the point where when you try to represent yourself and when you finally try to stand on your own 2 feet, all of a sudden you get met with oppression. So, and that's exactly what I ran into recently. And, you know, it becomes a matter of ethics. So it's like success is important, but not at the expense of somebody else.
Yeah.
So
as soon as you grow your own mind and you have your own vision, all of a sudden you're a loose cannon.
exactly.
Exactly.
Oh, he's thinking
That's
outside. He's radical. We can't have him here.
Yeah.
Right.
Or her here.
And then the moment you stand your ground on it, they're like, oh, now you're just combative.
Right.
Right.
It's
Now
all
you're
a
going
game,
to
man. It's all a game, a corporate
Right.
game.
Right.
So, and
Every
what I
time.
found in that,
Every time.
yep. So what I found in that, right? So how it all culminated up to a head, right? It's like in the midst, so I operate as a manager, right? So I take care of my people, represent the company that I work for. And it's like in trying to take care of one of my team members, I get the rug cut out from under me. And all of a sudden now I'm looking like the bad guy because I'm like, well, I'm questioning, like, what are we doing here? But now I've served somebody else's purpose because they stepped on me so they could get a leg up and go, hey, look, I filled my position. I took care of this person when you didn't. And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
So that's the reflection and what I've noticed. But what has me excited is that's created more realization for me. So I've always felt like my efforts and my talents, you know, they've helped me to contribute to something bigger. But I knew for a long time, and when I found Herbalife, it was more solidified. I knew for a long time that wasn't it. I was living somebody else's dream. I was serving somebody else's vision, boosting somebody else up. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to find something that would contribute to society in a way where I made a true impact, where I was actually touching somebody's heart, and where they would come back to me later and go, man, you saved my life because of what you did, because of what you offered me, whether it was better health or, you know, someone needed to make some extra money, right? Whatever it is. And, you know, you find that, you know, the saying where people, it's kind of a double-edged sword where they have the saying where, you know, money isn't the only thing. Well, it's like, well, I don't say that to diminish the value of success and what it means to, you know, make extra money or make the money that you want. I say it in the sense where it's like, money isn't everything from the stance where it's like, if you're making a bigger impact in improving the quality of somebody's life, that's money that will, you know, forever be paid in, so
that's priceless. That is
priceless. Thank
priceless.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I've been, and what I look forward to now is, you know, I've already made this decision. It's like, hey, you know, I'm building myself up to a point where it's like, I'm going to shift like full time into something where I'm actually making a huge impact. And while I'm building up right now to make sure that that nest egg is covered, so that way I have nothing to worry about, it's like, hey, that's the goal, because I don't like feeling downtrodden. It doesn't feel good.
Right.
And I like making sure that other people are lifted up, feeling valued and appreciated in life, not just in the job. And you sign off and you're like, oh, I got nothing to do with you. I did my job. I can look myself in the mirror saying that I look good. It's like, well, how did you really impact that person's life? What story are they really going to tell? Are you really going to be remembered, or are they going to walk off the job later and be like, well, yeah, that guy got me a leg up, but then I jumped into this new job that paid me more money. So that's something to think about, right? So for me, I look at it, it's like, I want someone to sit there, remember the legacy that I left behind for them. It's like, hey, this guy, he helped me create security for my family. He helped me to make sure that I was present in a time of need and all of these good things, right? So purpose, very important.
Definitely.
Yes. Yeah, I just want to add about the time management, because I noticed when I was a call center agent and there's a past job that I've been through, and I noticed that I always wait, so for the people. Like I didn't have a chance to do my thing. And it's like if I'm gonna do my thing, it's like they're going to blame me because of what I do. So the good thing is like Herbalife is still there for me. So and then it gives me opportunity to give time for myself, and what do you call this? it's like value my time,
Mhm.
you know, because all the jobs, and not all the jobs, like when you work for someone else, you cannot value yourself or your time because like you're thinking about their time and their value. So
You end up trading
we
your time for money. Yeah.
yes, also and then the good thing here is like we are already valuing our time and then other people and we're making extra money. You know, it's like it's a good thing. Like we're only the house, but we're still making money at the same time.
Totally.
Going
Mm-hmm.
back to your value.
Yep. Back to your purpose, your value. So in
Yes.
your case as a mother, right? A single
Mm-hmm.
mom, your time is extremely valuable because your kids require your presence. And it's
Yes.
not like you have a whole lot of time there because it's like once they hit adulthood, they're like, hey, no, I'm gonna do my own thing. And what they learn during that
Mm-hmm.
time that they spent with you, those are the experiences that they build their personal value system off of, right? Which is everything
Yes.
that I run into with my daughter.
Yeah.
Right, I was gonna say, shoot, they don't even have to be in adulthood yet. You know, it starts
Right.
from like middle school. Like middle school is when they're like you're gonna catch them. You either catch them or you don't, because by the time they get to high school, they are like in their own world, wanting to do whatever they want to. You know,
For
Exactly.
sure.
so
And it goes back to consistency of who they're
exactly
around.
consistency. Yep.
Consistency in training, consistency in thought, consistency. Not that we're trying
Yep.
to brainwash the kids or anything, but Joy's
Not at all, but
situation,
it's
she's got like a little one, 6. What is Annika? 13 and 14,
13,
right? And so
15.
I've known them all for most of their lives. So it's like
Mhm.
it's you can see the differences in how they think
Yeah.
right.
based on the environment that they grew up in at the time. It's really
Yeah.
interesting,
Exactly.
actually, Joy, to
It's
see.
super. It really is. Like it kind of like you kind of like for us, especially like local people, like we grow up, if not having our own children, we grow up having friends that have children, and you really do see the differences from their surroundings and their support system to where like, you know, other ones. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of just like, yeah, it's super interesting into their sharpening of the sword, I call it.
Yep.
Yes.
Totally.
So I mean, like just on my case for real, like really when I was in the Philippines before, my mom always works. My dad works um in other states before, and I was like okay, I was like I'm living a good life, like. But then when I came here, I was like everything changed because all of us is like starting over, or like we don't know what's going on. But then after when after hitting high school, that's where like okay, you just need to be like on point on everything. Like so my mom told me you cannot work yet. You gotta finish high school first because you cannot focus on too much things, and that's where you downgrade on everything. But I said okay, so I made that consistency to just be on something at least. Like instead of not doing anything, I joined a theater club, which is that's where like I learned things being in that theater club, and I loved it. And after high school, that's where I started working, and that's where like I guess like the hardship of me is like working and going to school at the same time, which is I don't know how to juggle because I never learned how to juggle working and school at the same time. So I mean, I'm not saying that it's about like it's a bad thing, but it's like it's a consistency of not just trying something new plus adding it to what you're doing now, but as having like that experience, I guess, just so that at least you can put it into your future afterwards. Because you can say, "Oh, I did that," and I know how to juggle it. Versus like you never done it yet, and then once you started it, and then it's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I don't even know if I'm doing this right. But at the same time, I said, okay. I mean, when with Herbalife too, like my, I don't even know what I'm doing before for real. Like I don't have a purpose in life. My only purpose is working for real. Work, home, work, home, work, home. That's it. That's the only thing I know.
A lot of people are like that, man.
Yeah,
A lot of
Yep.
people.
but when I started Herbalife, the consistency of, okay, first thing in the morning, I gotta drink my tea and my shake. That's been my consistency ever since, and I'm loving that. I was like, that's my consistency thing every morning. I know, like for me, I make my tea and shake every night so that when I woke up in the morning, it's ready to go for me, grab and go. Versus like if I don't have the time to make it and I'm, rushing around too much, or I don't want to rush. I hate rushing myself. Would rather take my time or do it before the night before so that I get my head, I get my day, you know, just get rolling and not rushing through everything. Because
So you're,
once you
you're
rush up,
rushing. You're rushing to get out the door to go to work.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
usually just have it everything ready to go so that I don't have to worry. I don't forget something, and at least grab and go. Like I know I
So we
did it.
find
I know
those.
I
Yep. So we find those like
yeah.
special learning lessons in like everything that we're doing helps to
Uh,
further define what our purpose is, right? So
yeah.
we got a little bit of time left, and I think I'm gonna dive down a rabbit hole here. So with your guys' purpose, with all of our purposes, really, does it only focus on what you do in this lifetime, or does it extend beyond this lifetime?
Oh, way beyond.
Definitely beyond.
Way beyond.
Right.
Hopefully, kids.
Yep.
It's multi-generational.
Agreed.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Hard.
and where
To
that gets
see it.
interesting, right, is like so many people, they're like, it's hard to see what's right in front of them, and wherever they're at in their life is where they're at. It's just they either haven't like crossed that threshold to see the vision beyond, or they're struggling, or they feel like they're going through some things. So I recall a time in my life where that was very difficult. It was hard to see what was right in front of me, but what I had to do was forecast myself to just say, hey, you know what, knock it out, knock it out, knock it out. You're going to end up tunneling your way through, kind of like how you see like the graphic where it's like people that quit before they reach the end of the gold mine, people that get just at the entrance of the gold mine and take one gold nugget out, and then people that bust the whole thing open. It's like just tunneling through and getting that done. So in relation to purpose and how far that expands out, I see where like some people struggle to find like, okay, I'm just doing what I need to do in this life. I can't control what happens in the future, but it's like, well, is that a frame of
You kind of
reference,
can.
or is that
Right.
real? Right. And it could be real for them, but in actuality, it's like, I found that shifted the most when I found out that I was going to have my daughter. So it was like, okay, shoot, what now? I was like, it's not just my life that I'm considerate of. It's a life of someone beyond. And even prior to then, I was like, I want to set things up in a way where it's like, if something ever happens to me, because I had, harsh realities happen pretty early in my life, I had to think that way. So, dad passed that, just walking into 18. So it's like, figure it out. What are you going to do now? And, really it was like, okay, so now my purpose is, how do I create longevity in the event something happens to me? Because who knows? I mean, we could have the longest lifespan in the world, right? Or we could walk out on the street tomorrow and bam, what happens next?
Yeah.
Yes.
So how does your purpose set things up for the future? And how does that pull you towards success instead of you having to constantly push and tug yourself along the way? You're drawn.
I could go on and on and on. So somebody else go first. I don't.
So for me, it's like legacy, and teach. Um, I want my kids to learn, like, they will, like, if I die tomorrow, I want the kids thought of like my mom said this. You know, I want them to learn how I taught them. And it's like the good way. It's like if you fall, learn how to stand up by yourself because nobody will help you on yourself. And so right now I cannot leave anything yet because I'm still growing. So I think that's the only thing I can leave for my kids is the legacy and thoughts, good thoughts like that.
That's the most important thing to lead them is their wisdom. Like I don't,
Yeah, yeah,
Define.
I
wisdom.
mean, I don't have,
No,
my parents both
I
passed away a
totally
long
agree
time
with
ago.
you.
And, my sisters, they could be watching, I don't know, but like a lot of the material stuff was given out. And I didn't really give a shit. Like I don't give a shit if I get whatever. But I do have some things that my sisters couldn't take. And it doesn't have nearly as much value as the things that I remember my mom telling me.
Totally.
Some key things.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
one in particular is that I'm responsible for how I feel. It's up to me if I'm pissed off or happy.
Yeah.
But there's so many of those. But yeah, so it's what you teach for sure.
It
That's the
really
most
is.
valuable.
It really
It's those
is.
life
Like
lessons.
material stuff is just like exactly that, material stuff.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
the things that you instill in your kids is just like has nothing to do with anything materialistic. Unless that's what you end up like that being your motto. But Joy, I just don't feel that from you.
Yeah.
So-
When people die, they only die physically. Their energy does not die. Their energy and what they taught, and their energy and who they are. You remember how they make you feel at certain times. Those are all parts of the lessons. So for sure, people just don't die. People are. I think
Yes.
my own thought on the thing. Talk about rabbit hole, Austin. My own thought on the thing is that when people die, people cry. The ones that are left, they cry because they're gonna miss that person.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then
That
the time
energy.
ran out already.
Yeah.
Like it's too late to say I love you now.
Yeah.
So they're left with guilt, and so they cry. Or they're left with it's all about the person that's behind. It's almost like selfish that they want this person to stay around. Cancer patients, the person's like, just let me go already. But the family is usually the one that's like, no, you have to stay with us. Fuck that.
Yeah.
And don't leave us. Like don't do this to us. Like why are you giving up? Why are you giving up already? But
And
at the
it's
same
crazy
time,
because all of those
it's-
family members really don't know.
Yeah.
They
yeah,
don't get
what's going? Yeah,
I'm not trying to say like I get the whole
They
thing, but
But they have no idea. They really don't. For people
So-
that are ready to go, they're gonna go when they like.
yeah.
And at the end of the
know,
day,
so.
we all know that every last one of us, we're gonna fade into energy or fade into whatever it is that we believe in, right? We're
whatever
gonna
it
fade.
is.
Yeah.
Our physical form is always going to disappear, but our spirit and our energy is always going to be present in some shape or form. So like when we look at what is left behind, just like how you're saying, Evan and Kawi and all of you guys, right? So as we leave physically, the last thing that we're left with and we're imparted with is the values, the wisdom, the ideas, the life lessons. Those are 4 strong qualities that like I hold on to this day. And it's like sometimes it's heavy, and I find that I'm extremely passionate about it when I'm talking to somebody, and I don't realize it until after. I'm like, holy crap, that was a core value that my dad taught me. That was something that he used to bang into my head, and now all of a sudden I'm saying it. I never would have thought I would have said that, but then it comes out, and then it puts me in a position of reflection to go, you know what? That's something that was imparted in you for a reason. So no matter what happens to us, right? Like our children, they're going to remember everything that we taught them, all the examples that we purposely left for them, and even the stuff that they noticed that we were doing that we didn't know we were doing ourselves. So like our daily consistent actions, how we started our day, what defines success, you know, how we put money on the table, how we took care of each other, how we treated one another. All that stuff is so important.
Yeah.
Yep. And it shows up in life, man. It shows up later on as adults, like we were saying. And what's interesting about the whole thing too is like, it can totally, those early fundamental things from my own standpoint, it's like, I never used to make my bed. I never used to do these small little disciplines. It's no wonder I'm such a late bloomer, because I've had to learn by reading or being around people or whatever. So it's taken me, you know, I'm 53. So for the young ones on the call or whoever might be listening, man, it's like you got your whole life, but time, it could be gone. You don't know.
Yep.
Right.
Make
Totally.
the most out of it.
And I think the expanse of our age range is between 25 and like 55, right? So that would be pretty much the people that would probably be dialing in, checking out what's going on. So, you know, just like Evan's saying, you know, take advantage, because that time could be gone. And from my experience, it's like, you know, and this is a value, you know, I'm happy to impart this on everybody, because it's a value that my dad taught me. Don't put off for tomorrow what you can do today, because you never know when that time is gone from you, you know?
Yep. Say I love you to the ones that you love, man. You know,
Yep.
It's a true thing, man. You got to. You really got to, because you never know.
Yep.
Just don't take it for granted, guys.
Very cool.
Very cool. So, guys, that is chapter 4. Success is our duty, and we can see how it's so important in every last one of us, and how we've all shared our stories. We've all kind of poured out our hearts in some way, shape, or form. So next week, we're gonna go into chapter 5. Okay, we're gonna wrap this whole 3-part series up, and we're gonna keep rolling with the book. But next week is about there's no shortage of success. So, any thoughts that you had, anything that you took from this, you know, please comment, you know, below, and, you know, we'd be happy to hear from you, happy to see what you took from it and your experiences, because we just want to bring value to you guys and hope that this touches your heart in some way, shape, or form. So, happy Mother's Day. We hope you guys all have a great day, and we will see you next week, Sunday.
Good on you guys. Love you.
Hey.
Aloha.
Have a good day.
See you guys.